What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Cash It. I'm Howard Bender. Adam Ronis by my side. Adam, what's going on, man? How you doing today?
Doing good. Busy time. A lot going on right now. This is an insane. March is always, I always say March and August are the two busiest months. And then it's crazier because, obviously I'm deep into NBA, fantasy baseball drafts, and the real drafts are coming up. Already done some real ones, but the big ones now over the next couple of weeks with the season 2 weeks away. World Baseball Classic. I think you're going to start to see some juice there as we get further. NCAA tournament, NFL free agency. So it's just an insane time right now.
Yeah, it really is. Are you into the NCAA tournament? Like, I don't know shit about college basketball. Like, people ask me stuff. I'm like, listen, there's a reason that I always have Dan Servadidio on the show. Or today I've got, because we're recording on Wednesday, my friend Jason Lisk, who works over for Team Rankings, he's going to pop by. I defer. I don't know shit about college hoops. You?
No, I'm not an expert. I just, over the years, I follow it less and less just because, I'm so deep into the NBA. So It's been difficult. So, I'll follow it. It's going to be tough this weekend, though, to watch all of it because drafts and tout wars and everything. So I'll definitely follow it, but it's going to be difficult to watch everything. I mean, it's really nice to kind of have it on TV while you work throughout the day, but I'll probably be out most of the day on Friday and Saturday.
That's right. I forgot it's Tout Wars weekend coming up this weekend. It's so weird that I'm not going to be there. And I finished my Tout Wars draft and hold draft already. So, there's nothing for me for this weekend, and I'm not doing, all the broadcasts are going to be local in New York. So I won't be doing that at all. The league that you're in is which one? Mixed auction?
No, I'm not. I've already drafted my Tout Wars team.
Oh, all right. So you're just broadcasting then.
Yes. And that's right. Yeah. Saturday. And then the NFBC, I was supposed to be in Sunday, but they canceled this Sunday. And now I'm probably not going to be able to do the auction because the auction's Friday at 9 a.m. And I have work obligations, so I can't be there. So I'm going to hope to be at a main event on Saturday at 2 p.m. I'm going to have to rush from the Tout Wars broadcast to the NFBC draft to do the main event.
Okay. All right. Damn, busy for you. I don't know, man. I think I'm going to sit and fart around this whole weekend. I'll watch the World Baseball Classic. I'm not into the tournament. I think I filled out a bracket only because SiriusXM was like, what's your final four and your final and your pick for the winner for whatever graphic they want to do. But I was like, all right, here you go. Here's my my bracket, which, I mean, literally, every time somebody tries to get me into an NCAA pool for the brackets, I'm like, what? Why don't you just take my 25 or $50 and just go and just, or just piss on it, put it in the street and take a whiz on it, because that's probably about where you're at there. I have no belief whatsoever in any of my picks. I just don't watch it. I just don't watch college basketball enough to make that happen. The World Baseball Classic, definitely, like you said, getting a little bit more juice in on that, just because, I mean, tonight's game is going to be fantastic. We're recording Wednesday, March the 15th, and this is Puerto Rico versus Dominican Republic. And this is actually a winner advances, loser goes home for this one. So it's a very tough group here, to say the least. Or I don't even know if there's like another way for both teams to get in or to advance any further. So should be very, very interesting to see how this game pans out. I was actually running a mock draft, and Joel Pinheiro, former Seattle Mariners pitcher, he was actually going to do the mock draft, and then he realized that it was Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. He's like, I can't do the draft anymore. I'm sorry. I'm like, dude, it's totally cool. I totally get it. No worries at all. So that'll be a fun one to watch there. And then I'll probably just kind of catch up with it on the weekend and do that. Or I might, Adam, I might just take it easy on myself. Maybe I don't do any sports this entire weekend. I think that'll fly with the peoples.
No.
Fuck. All right. All right, so college hoops, World Baseball Classic, Tout Wars drafts, NFL free agency has been, crazy, hectic. I don't know how closely you're locking into it, just because you have so much going on with the NBA as well, and I don't have anything going on with the NBA. So I've kind of been locked in. Not to mention the fact that this Aaron Rodgers nonsense with the Jets is just, it's really just it's sticking me, and it's like a thorn in my side the entire time. Very, very upset about it.
Why?
I don't want the media circus. I don't want all of this shit. I mean, look at what's going on with the Jets right now. We can't go into the season with Zach Wilson. Mike White signed with Miami. Derek Carr is with the Saints. There's no other quarterbacks who are really legitimate quarterbacks are available. Aaron Rodgers has dragged this shit on, long enough. The Packers continue to drag this shit on long enough. So now there are no quarterbacks available at all. And basically the Packers are going to price gouge the Jets. And they're going to try and demand, multiple first round picks in order to make this trade. And I don't know, man. Listen, do I think Aaron Rodgers makes our team better in comparison to Zach Wilson? 100%. 100%. But the nonstop media circus, the constant back and forth, the bullshit, the fact that we could end up mortgaging first-round picks, multiple first-round picks, to get a guy who is past his prime. I don't see him taking us to the promised land. I don't see him out-dueling guys like Josh Allen or out-dueling Pat Mahomes. I mean, I even think that the Jets might have trouble with a team like the freaking Jaguars, who look fantastic for the upcoming season. Like, to me, the juice is not worth the squeeze here with Aaron Rodgers, and it's just, we went through this with Brett Favre and him using the Jets as leverage to go to Minnesota because the Packers didn't want to deal him like within the division. Like, all of this nonsense. I mean, to me, this is more aggravation than it really needs to be worth. And I was watching, yes, I got fish hooked into watching this stupid Pat McAfee show this afternoon to just kind of see what was being said. And basically there was nothing said. It was Aaron Rodgers saying, yeah, I think I want to still play more. That's what hit me when I came out of the darkness. But please, Jets fans, I have nothing to do with these negotiations at all. So, he told Adam Schefter to lose his number because the wish list was apparently not true, or at least Rodgers is denying that wish list being true. And, it's just, is what I have to say about it. He's not going to be, it's not going to be worth mortgaging first round draft picks for a guy who, I mean, he's got another year or two left in him. And then is that going to bring us to the promised land? No, definitely not.
I don't know if the Packers have much leverage here.
I don't think they have much leverage either. I mean, but what are they going to do? They're not going to cut him out, right? Are they? Is there a cap hit?
Probably there is. Yeah. Because he has a $58.3 million bonus that's due no later than week 1 of the season. Okay. So if they trade him before June 1st, they absorb $40.3 million in dead money.
If they trade him before June 1st or after June 1st?
Before.
So then what's the point in trading him then?
Well, they're saying that the Packers can wait this out. That's the other thing too. He's going to be a Jet though. It's going to happen. Yeah. I think it's pretty clear.
And what are we going to end up?
But if you don't want Aaron Rodgers, then what do you want the Jets to do?
Oh, no. I mean, we're stuck with Aaron Rodgers. We're stuck negotiating. That's the problem, is that there's nothing available right now. There's nothing out there. We don't have any other choices. We don't have any other choices but to pay what the Packers are asking for. And that's what I think the big problem is, because this whole all this shit got dragged out, and Rodgers was like, he dragged it out for his own personal gain. He dragged out, the Packers are going to drag this shit out. And then what are the Jets going to do? They don't have any other options. There are none. There are no other options around them for the NFL. Every other freaking quarterback, maybe Teddy Bridgewater's available. Do I want fucking Teddy Bridgewater at the Jets? No, I don't. But I don't want to give up 2 first-rounders for Aaron Rodgers.
I don't think they're going to have to.
I hope not, dude. I hope not. Meanwhile, I got Jim Bowden whining and crying on the show that your Cowboys haven't done anything on offense. They've shored up the defense, which is great, but they still have no fucking weapons.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they're cutting Zeke, so that'll free up some money. But yeah, they need to get a wide receiver. So whether it's through free agency, a trade, or the draft, they definitely need to upgrade the offense.
Yeah, well, Stephon Diggs taken off the table. He restructured his deal with the Bills so that he can stay there. I know that was a player. What do you think you would have to give up in order to get DeAndre Hopkins?
I don't even know if I want Hopkins at this point. I think he's getting close to being, he's an older receiver. He wasn't great last year towards the end. I don't know. I don't want to give up much for him. I'd rather get someone else if they have to give up a lot for him.
Do you have any players in mind that you want to see?
Probably in the draft. I think they could draft a receiver. Maybe Odell Beckham is a guy that seems that they're in on. Don't know if that's going to work out either.
I don't even know if they're in on him. They didn't even go see his workout.
Yeah, and they kind of shot away from him last year too.
Yeah, I think there's something about OBJ that it's not sitting well with Dallas.
It's a bad free agent market for wide receivers. That's the problem.
Yeah, it is. Juju Smith-Schuster just signed with the Patriots today.
Yeah, so, and he's not even that good.
No, he's not. I mean, that was the big problem for the Jets also, is that this wasn't even a good year for free agent quarterbacks. A horrible year. Horrible. So
the Jets just need, I know Aaron Rodgers wasn't great last year. He did play through a thumb injury, but they don't even need the Aaron Rodgers MVP level. They just need a competent quarterback that can just keep the offense moving. I mean, you saw how bad it was last year with their quarterback situation and how great the defense was. But the other problem is the AFC is so tough. That is the problem. You have so many good teams in the AFC, whereas in the NFC, you don't. It's more wide open there.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely agree with that, Sid, which is why, I mean, all these idiots who are, I was arguing with Salfino, Michael Salfino on Twitter yesterday, because I was just like, this is a crock of shit. This is terrible. And he's sitting there, he starts, he's telling me that, Jet fans don't understand, and he did the math and this and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, your math is fucking ridiculous. It's not true. You can't sit there and talk about how many wins Aaron Rodgers is worth when he's playing for the Packers versus what he would be worth playing for the Jets. It just doesn't, like, football shit doesn't translate like that. And so, he's going off on it. And I was like, at one point I was just like, you know what? Fuck this. Let's just agree to disagree, just like we did when you were fucking telling me that Adam Gase was a decent coach and the Jets were going to be fine with Adam Gase. I was like, so what kind of fucking bullshit is that? Unreal. And I just think that there are delusional people out there who think that Aaron Rodgers in a Jets uniform puts us on track for the Super Bowl.
Makes them a better team, obviously, because their quarterback play was atrocious last year. And they don't need Aaron Rodgers of 5 years ago at the MVP level. They just need a quarterback that's going to manage the offense, keep the offense moving, not turn it over. And that's one thing about Rodgers. He's always been good at protecting the football, not turning it over.
Yep. I mean, I like I said, I'm not saying that it's not going to be an improvement. It has to be an improvement. You couldn't get any worse than what our QB situation was last year. But I mean, are we saying that that's like automatically going to translate to the playoffs? No, it's not. Not when you're dealing with like the Bengals, the Bills, the Chiefs, even the Chargers are going to be better.
Dolphins.
The Patriots always have our fucking number no matter what. That's always a problem for us to scrape out wins there. The Jaguars are getting better. That's another team that you have to look at as possible contenders for a playoff spot. I don't know about the Vegas Raiders. with Jimmy Garoppolo over there. But like you said, it's so tough. The grind in the AFC is so much tougher than it is that, even with the improvement at QB, I think you need Aaron Rodgers to be vintage MVP Aaron Rodgers in order to make it to the fucking Super Bowl. Kills me.
Yeah, I mean, asking for the Super Bowl, that's lofty expectations, but he makes them a better team. I mean, that defense was phenomenal last year, and they would have won a lot more games had they had Aaron Rodgers at quarterback last year.
Yeah. I very much look forward to our first round playoff exit. Super excited about that. Fuck.
Okay, so Jets fans who are never competitive are now going to bitch if they make the playoffs. It's so funny.
I'm not bitching about making the playoffs. I'm just bitching about the way that we're going about it right now.
I mean, I don't. What do you want them to do? I mean, you can't just sign Rodgers. He's not a free agent.
No, we should have been more active. Listen, I think we would have been just as fine with Jimmy Garoppolo under center. I think we would have been just as fine with Derek Carr under center. Both of those guys make the Jets better than they were last year.
Done so well in their previous stints.
Jimmy Garoppolo's winning percentage is pretty fucking good, dude.
Yeah, and why? Why was it good?
Because of the rest of the 49ers around him.
Yes.
So we're saying the same thing about the Jets. Great defense, great offensive line. Garrett Wilson.
Do they have the same weapons that San Francisco had?
No, they don't have the same weapons that San Francisco has, but you're surrounding Jimmy Garoppolo with a rock solid team.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think he was just in the right system.
I think he was in the right system as well. I definitely do. But we also know that Robert Saleh is employing that same system that Kyle Shanahan implements over there in San Francisco. Oh, now because we've got Nathaniel Hackett, the guy who couldn't fucking coach his way out of a paper bag, and now he's our offensive coordinator. So you give Nathaniel Hackett, Aaron Rodgers, and Alan Lazard, and suddenly we're going to the fucking playoffs to the Super Bowl? Come on.
And you would feel more confident that the team would go to the Super Bowl with Garoppolo?
No, I'm saying that we are equally probable to our chances are equal, whether it was Carr, whether it was Garoppolo, or whether it's Aaron Rodgers. I think our chances of being in the Super Bowl are probably at about equal. I don't think Rodgers is very good anymore. He doesn't want to get hit at all. He doesn't run. He's not mobile. I don't think that he moves the needle much more than a guy like Carr or a guy like Garoppolo does.
Garoppolo has a very difficult time staying healthy. So you're talking about quarterbacks that don't want to get hit. He can't stay on the field, and Carr is mediocre.
Yeah. And Aaron Rodgers is mediocre right now.
This will be the best set of weapons he's had in years.
Yeah. Well,
he has not had good wide receivers.
I don't know. Does he have really that great set of weapons? We don't know what Breece Hall is going to be like coming off of the ACL injury. We just signed, Alan Lazard because that's what, apparently everybody thinks Rodgers is going to get. And he gets Garrett Wilson.
And Elijah
the
Moore.
dude had Devontae Adams for years and years and years.
Okay.
So you're going to say that there's significant. This is a significant upgrade in weaponry.
First of all, he had Devontae Adams. That was the only receiver he had. What did he have last year? 2 rookie receivers, 2 inexperienced receivers. No tight end. He didn't have anything, and he played with a bad thumb.
Listen, we could agree to disagree. And the proof will be at the end of the season when we see what happens with the Jets. But
well, what's the proof? If they don't get to the Super Bowl, then you're fucking right. I mean, come on, that's ludicrous. There's no proof. What is the end game?
Let's see how the team plays. Let's see if they make the playoffs. If they do make the playoffs, let's see what the draw is. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pass any judgment, and I'm not going to turn around and say that I was right and everybody else was wrong until I see what happens. Because I'll tell you what, if we make the playoffs and we get bounced in the first round, can we say that legitimately having Aaron Rodgers was that much better than having Derek Carr or Jimmy Garoppolo? I mean, we're going to have to wait and see. I'm not going to sit there and Aaron Rodgers gets hurt in week 3. I'm not going to sit there and turn around and take a victory lap over it. I'm just going to say flat out. I mean, listen, this is what it is. This is what the Jets have. This is the bed that they have now made for themselves. They're going to have to lie in it, and we'll see what happens. I'm just not going to sit here and say that Aaron Rodgers is all of a sudden going to be the difference maker that the Jets have needed all this time.
Yeah, and I don't think Carr or Garoppolo were either. I mean, Carr's had one season of 30 touchdowns. I mean, he was supposed to be great last year, right? Oh, Adams, Waller, Renfro, Jacobs had a great year. 24 touchdowns in 15 games.
Well, I mean, that was also a terrible, he just couldn't figure out that fucking offense that Josh McDaniels was running.
14 interceptions each of the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, both sitting there with Josh McDaniels and an overcomplicated offense that he was obviously too dumb to figure out. That's why they went out and got Jimmy Garoppolo, because at least Garoppolo knows, and has experience with McDaniel's system and knows what he wants to do. I'm willing to bet that Garoppolo has a better showing in Vegas than Carr has over the last 2 seasons with McDaniels. I'd say
it's not a high bar. It's not a high bar to clear.
No, it's definitely not. It's also not a high bar to set that the Jets are going to have improved quarterback play with Aaron Rodgers on their team, because last year was disgusting.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Horrible, dude. Horrible. All right, we've spent far too much time on off-season football right now for me. I'm so disgusted by this whole thing. I'm so disgusted with it. So bad. Let's talk. Can we talk a little MLB? Can we talk some fantasy baseball?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's talk some fantasy baseball. Let's start off here. What we're going to do is because we did middle infield last week, corner infield the week before that, catchers the week before that. We're getting down to crunch time here. So let's talk outfield, starting pitching, and we can talk closers too, because it's just the nature of the beast, and people are going to have some serious drafts coming up here this weekend and the weekend after. I can't believe it's almost March 30th, almost the start of the season, dude. That's super, super exciting. Let's start in the outfield and let's talk about it. How are you handling your outfield in drafts this year so far?
I don't have a set plan for it. I know people are like, especially in 15-team leagues, the outfield's real thin. You got to get him early. Look, early on, I'm worried about getting the best players and the best stats. I don't care. So there'll be some drafts where I'll have 2 or 3 outfielders in the first 6, 7 rounds. There'll be other drafts where I have 1. Labor, I did not spend a lot in the outfield. I spent on 2 players, Arozarena and Eloy Jimenez. Then I got a bunch of cheap players, and that's a 12-team league because I allocated more money to the infield, just the way it worked out. So, is it thin in a 15-team league where you got to start 5 outfielders? No question about it. But I also think there's going to be more players available on waivers in the outfield. So it's top heavy. You got your studs early on. Then as you go, you're like, oh boy, there's a lot of question marks here. So I'm not worried about I have to get 3 outfielders in the first 9 rounds. I'm not worried about it. I think people are paying too much attention to positional scarcity in the first few rounds. I mean, get the stats, man. If you have to get 2 shortstops in the first 4 or 5 rounds, do it. Just do it. You want to get the stats. So fine. You're going to be great at middle infielder compared to everyone else. All right, fine. You're a little thin in the outfield, but I think more players become available on waivers in the outfield. There'll be injuries. There's obviously a lot of platoons when you look later on, but I'm not going to have it in my mind that I have to get, 3, 4 outfielders early. I'm trying to remember now because I did an NFBC online championship on what was it? Friday night. It was a last minute thing. That's a 12-team league, so that's a little different.
Oh, didn't I call that? Didn't I say that on the last episode?
That what?
That you were going to jump into another draft. You were like, I don't have anything for a little while, and I was like, you're jumping into something else. You're gonna do it.
Well, I was asked to do it, so I said okay. So I did start out with.
You can't just admit that I was right. Okay,
no, I can't. I started that draft with 2 outfielders actually. Picking 7, Kyle Tucker fell, and I was surprised. I was like, oh shit! Click the button, and Mike Trout in round 2.
That's disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, look, we all know the deal with Trout, right? But when he's on the field, man, I mean, he did steal a base in the WBC too. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but Trout, even if he plays 120, 130 games, going to put up sick numbers. So I started 2 outfielders. I didn't get my third one until round 13. So again, I'm not really, and that's a 12-team league. But yeah, I mean, look, there's some decent outfielders late that you can get. So I'm not really too worried about it. I'm going to take the best players early, and like I said, it might be 3 outfielders in the first 9 rounds. If not, I'll figure it out.
I mean, let's look at some tiers, because I think what happens is that you look at it and you just look at the top outfielders: Acuna, Julio Rodriguez, Judge, Soto, Tucker, Alvarez, Trout, Mookie Betts, right over there. I mean, I think Trout's a first rounder still. So, I mean, if other people aren't going to think that way, then, so be it. Let them be morons about it. But I think so. Those 8, I think, are all first round picks, all of them. And I think that's probably where everybody kind of freaks out about it. I think that there is definitely a drop off after you get past that. You go from that top 10, and think about, Lewis Robert, Michael Harris, Schwarber, or Rosarina, Mullins, in that top 15, Eloy, then you're talking like Adolis Garcia. So all of a sudden now there's a drop off after the top 10 or the top 8 or 9. And then you've got, another drop off, I would say, like right after the top 20, when you start looking at guys like Kwan, Seiya Suzuki, Tyler O'Neill, Santander, Stanton, McCarthy, Castellanos. I'm comfortable with guys in that range there. Beyond that, if you didn't take a third outfielder until round 13, you said, who was your outfielder?
Ian Happ.
Okay. Which, I have him 33rd in my rankings for the outfield.
Yeah,
so that's
solid.
Not bad. That's not bad that he lasted that long.
Yeah, he's a solid outfielder, man. Little pop. He stole 9 bases last year. Improved that average. So Seiya Suzuki, I like a lot. It's the injury, man. He fell to the 13th round of this draft. He's going to obviously miss some time beginning the year, but he really improved late in the season. He was a guy I was going to be targeting like round 7, round 8. And obviously have to back off a little bit now, but I still might be interested in him at the right price. I think, I know we're going to do pitching after, but Joe Musgrove to me has fallen way too far, bro. I took him in this draft in round 10 as my 3rd starter. It doesn't sound like he's going to miss much time. It's a toe injury. It's not an arm. So, some of these injured guys are going to be a little bit of a bargain. But I also don't like to go into the season with already. I think you can do it with one player. You don't want to do it multiple because more injuries are going to come to your team.
Yeah. Oh, I'm definitely, even if you're talking about, if it's a 12-team league with unlimited IL spots, well then, then I'll grab Musgrove, I'll grab Tyler Glass now. If I know that there's not like a huge issue and these guys, could be back, sooner than later. I'm fine with doing that. But yeah, I've never been one of those guys who drafts the injured player just to stash him away. So I get you on that one there. So give me some mid-tier outfielders who you find yourself, kind of landing on. Obviously, it's always, every draft is different and whatever, but once you get to those middle rounds, there's always certain names that just pop more for you based on where you are in your draft.
Yeah, I think Lars Nootbaar is interesting for the Cardinals. I think Lourdes Gurriel, Riley Green I haven't drafted yet, but I see he's been having a pretty good spring. I think Austin Meadows has a bounce back. Garrett Mitchell from Milwaukee. I know he was dealing with a little bit of a hamstring. Oscar Colas from the White Sox. He's got to win the job first. I think Jesse Winker could have a good year in Milwaukee. I'm willing to take a chance on Jared Kelnick. Price really hasn't gone up too much.
I just wrote up on that about Kelnick being a post-type sleeper. The article's at fantasyalarm.com. I did a debate with James Grande. And I took the pro Jared Kelnick. I love me a post-type sleeper, man. When everybody's off of a guy like that, I love it. Although this hot spring, everybody's like suddenly bringing him back.
I know, because his price has definitely gone up. Trying to think, I'm trying to find where he went in this draft. I know I got him in a draft champions recently, but that was like, he went in round 17 of a 12-team league. Look, and that's fine, man, because you're not investing much, man. In a 12-team league, too, I will say this. I think we spoke about it. Yeah, we did. It was one of the sound bites. But in a 12-team league, man, you're going to make more cuts. You have to be quick. There's always going to be more players available on waivers. So it's not a big investment around 17 for Kelnick. If it doesn't work out, you quickly move on. I like Jake Fraley in Cincinnati. Little power, little speed, great park. Even later, Jorge Soler. I think we could see the power from him. He can bounce back. Manny Margot, I like. Let's see. TJ Friedel from Cincinnati. And Oswaldo Cabrera from your Yankees.
I'm really wondering because if you look at the outfields for like the Reds, the Royals, even the Brewers' right field is still not settled yet. And we're wondering about whether or not Sal Frelick is going to, break camp with the big club. I mean, it's very interesting that, you point out guys like Friedel and Fraley, because, the question is are they going to see the at-bats that you want? And then because then you have to look in and say, well, does Cincinnati or Kansas City, do they have anybody to bring in to play those spots? And unfortunately, I don't think either team has anything really much behind it.
Yeah, I think you'll see those guys get playing time. I mean, it probably, they got Myers, who's going to play, although he can play first base to start with Votto not ready. Got Friedel out there. Senzel never stays healthy. Fraley, I think a name to keep an eye on, I don't think he's going to start the year with the team, is Will Benson. I just took him in like round 34 of a draft champions league. He's got some elite power, big guy, 6'5", 230, came over from Cleveland. So he might not be there to start the year, but I think a guy to keep an eye on to see if he comes up during the season. But yeah, I mean, look, you want some of those Reds players in that park. We just seen, you saw Drury go there and just have a career year. So this is the best park that Will Myers has ever played in. I know there's injury risk with him, but I'm open to him. It seems, though, that the price has risen a little bit. It's cost a little more to get him, but I'm still open to taking him. Oh, Brian De La Cruz from Miami.
They love him over in Miami. Like they've locked in on him as their starting left fielder.
His September last year, and it's 1 month, but they said he struggled. They sent him down in the minors to work on pitch recognition, specifically the changeup. Boy, he came up, and his StatCast numbers were ridiculous. So definitely like him as well. So yeah, I mean, look, there's some decent guys that you can get late. They're all not going to hit, but willing to take a few of them.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm in on a lot of those names. I don't know how you feel about Michael Conforto in San Francisco. I kind of like the spring that he's having right now. He's, excuse me, he's shown some nice power there. I agree with you that I would like to see Austin Meadows on a rebound. I don't necessarily know if that's happening. Trying to think of I'm just looking at the back end of the rankings here and trying to figure out who else. You mentioned Garrett Mitchell. You know who we've talked Brendan Donovan before, so we don't need to.
I look at him more in the infielder, but I know he has outfield eligibility.
Well, that's the thing, man. I love grabbing him late, and I did it in a mock draft that we were doing for the Fantasy Alarm draft guide last night. And Donovan was sitting there in round 20, and I was like, first base eligibility, third base eligibility, second base eligibility. Oh, look, outfield eligibility. I love having those type of guys. especially when you're talking about like a league where you can make daily roster moves. It just gives you so much flexibility in your roster. So much flexibility. Trying to think. I mean, you kind of landed on a number of the guys who I've been targeting and drafting recently. I took a shot on just for shits and giggles, man, just to see what happens. Just a tip, Adam, just to see how it felt. I took Cody Bellinger in a draft. Wind's blowing out at Wrigley. Maybe the pressure's off him a little bit, being on a lesser team like the Cubs than the Dodgers. I kind of feel like Bellinger could show some power again.
I'm kind of torn on him. I mean, look, he had 19 homers, 14 steals last year, but if the Dodgers can't fix you, isn't that a red flag?
I don't know. Is that considered a red flag if the Dodgers can't fix you?
I mean, look at what the Dodgers do, man. I mean, look at all the pitchers that have gone to. I mean, that's the reason why I'm interested in Noah Syndergaard, is because he's on the Dodgers. Look what they did with every pitcher they bring in.
Okay, but Cody Bellinger doesn't pitch.
I know, but even hitters too. I mean, guys go to the Dodgers and are really good. And if the Dodgers couldn't bring back Bellinger on a 1-year deal, that tells you they don't have confidence in him. And Bellinger's big year was 2019 when everyone was hitting home runs.
Well, yeah, that's because they were using, as Jim Bowden puts it, they're using a golf ball instead of a baseball.
Right. And so guys who have that big year at 19 and then don't do anything since, you got to be careful. I don't know what's happened the last 2 years, man. Strikeout rate is high. His walk rate is down. He just looks bad. I mean, again, if you get 20 homers, 15 steals, you'll be happy. The key is, what are the counting stats going to be, and how bad is the average? It was 210 last year, 165 and 21. I mean, and that's over 900 at bats. So we're not talking a small sample here. We're talking 900 at bats. So I don't know. I haven't drafted him anywhere yet.
I took him once just like I said, just to see how it felt, see what happens.
Did you get an STD?
Did I get it? No. Well, wait, are genital warts considered an STD?
Yeah, I think they are, buddy.
Oh, really? I just thought that was like, like penis braille. So that when you're having sex with a blind person,
if you tell a girl, hey, I have genital warts, what do you think? Do you think she'll sleep with you?
Maybe she takes a pin and she tries to pop them a little bit so that you just lubricate, self-lubrication.
And she really cares about you, and you should marry her. And this is why we get nominated for awards.
Who's the one outfielder, Adam, who you love? You just haven't been able to draft them. People are jumping the ADP on you, and then you don't want to bump him up too much. Who's the one outfielder that you can't seem to get your hands on?
Let's see. I don't think I have any Lars Nootbaar, so I would say him. And I think I do have a Garrett Mitchell, but definitely not as much as I want. I know someone took him in tout. I was kind of upset about that. So yeah, I'd say those two guys.
Those two guys. For me, it's Taylor Ward.
Oh, I took Ward in tout. It's OBP. I took him in tout. I think it might have been early, but again, you got to throw that out the window because it's OBP. I think I took him in round 7, I believe. But yeah, I like him.
I like him a ton. I like him leading off. I love the fact that he'll have Trout and Ohtani hitting behind him. He's going to get plenty of pitches to see. He's going to get plenty of time on base. The runs scored should be great. I'm not looking at him for stolen bases, because why would you run him if you've got Trout and Ohtani right behind him? But yeah, man, I've got him like just on the cusp of my top 30 for the outfield. And I just never seem to be able to get him in drafts. People just keep jumping on me, and I'm like, all right. I mean, I'm not going to reach too high up for him and push him to a spot where he really doesn't, where it's not affordable, where, you're not getting any value out of it.
Yeah, he's because the outfield is kind of thin. Like in my 12 team, he went in round 9. Actually, one pick before me, I might have taken him had he fell to me.
And then in the realm of there are times where you're just really fucking happy that you're drafting in January and February, because the helium on Jordan Walker
Oh my
is not.
goodness.
He went in the 8th round of a 12-team mock last night. The 8th round.
Mine, he went first pick of round 8. This was Friday night. So this was before the shoulder issue, which is apparently not a big deal because I believe he's back in the lineup now.
Yeah, he was back in the lineup yesterday, actually.
Right. So, yeah, man, I mean, it's just such a high price.
Yeah. I've got him in tout. I didn't take him until late. I think I've got him in like 3 leagues. And I don't think I went higher than like the 17th round for him. And now I can't fucking get him.
Yeah, now forget it. And then once they make an official announcement that he makes the team, it's going to be even higher because the same thing happened with Julio Rodriguez last year. And I think that's what people are doing. They're like, oh, Julio Rodriguez all over. I don't think it is, man.
I don't think it is either. I mean, I love Jordan Walker. I really do. I think that it's fantastic play, but big league pitchers are going to figure out, like, that's the thing right now is that you look at Jordan Walker and it doesn't look like he's got any holes in his swing, which is very impressive for a guy who's what, 6'5", 6'6"?
Yeah.
To have a guy who's like that tall.
Yeah. Bigger strike zone too. Didn't play in AAA, played at A, high A and double A all last year. So skipping AAA. I mean, look, he's been impressive so far in the spring, but you're paying for the ceiling right now, and it's only going to get the price is only going to go up if they officially announce he's making the team.
Yeah. What about Corbin Carroll? I've seen Corbin Carroll now go in the 5th and 6th round.
I've seen him go in the 3rd and 4th round, and I think he's another guy. Yeah, man. Like, again, I know they just signed him to a contract, 8-year, $111 million deal. We know he's got insane speed. You could just watch him, and yeah, he's fun to watch. But I don't know if the power is going to be there. The speed will, but yeah, people are paying a very high price tag. And we did see him a little bit at the major league level last year, 27% strikeout rate, 4 homers, 2 steals in 32 games. So we know he's going to play, but yeah, I mean, he is going very, very high. He went late 4th round in my 12-team league, and I've seen him go in the third round of some 15-team leagues now.
Too rich for my blood, my man. Too rich for my blood.
I guess if you start 3 bats with no speed and you want the speed, okay, but you're kind of overpaying for it.
Yeah, you're definitely overpaying for it.
No, I mean, look, you look at last year, and that's the thing. People were like, well, look at Julio Rodriguez, look at Bobby Witt. Okay, and there's a lot of rookies that don't come through. I'm all for taking them, but you're talking about high price tags now for these guys where you need them to hit their ceiling.
Well, isn't that, I mean, that's kind of the way that most rookies go right now. I mean, it really has. I remember when it was it 2001 when Pujols came in, basically from out of nowhere, third base for the Cardinals. They said that they were going to send him back down. They finally turned around and said that they were going to, hold him there. And with the season that he had from that point on, and I mean, it's kind of crazy, but from that point on, the elevation of rookies has been tremendous. And then when you get guys like Trout and Harper coming into the league, I mean, now it's like it's insane. So yeah, to see Julio Rodriguez produce like that last year, and now it's like Corbin Carroll and Jordan Walker all have like these crazy high price tags, and you see the elevation of rookies. I'm not anti-rookie by any stretch of the imagination. I love rookie power hitting third baseman. Yum 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 yum. But
yeah, and I was in on Witt last year. I got him in a couple leagues. Julio Rodriguez, I didn't get anywhere, but I had him ranked very high. I had him I had him top 30 in the outfield. So everyone else was just going like crazy for him, so I couldn't get him. But I definitely had him ranked high.
Once the inflation starts, once the helium starts for rookies, it's really tough to contain. Really tough to contain. All right, let's go from the outfield to the pitching. Let's talk about it here. Again, I mean, obviously there are a lot of schools of thought where you can wait on pitching. You got to attack pitching, early. I found that in a 15-team league, I don't mind taking a pitcher or two on the early side, and we can combine starting pitching with closers at this point, because the high end elite closers like Hader, Diaz, and Clase, these guys are going like late second, early third round. I've seen these guys go. So, in a 15-team league, I'm fine doing that. In a 12-team league, though, I don't mind waiting on the starting pitching a little bit more.
Yeah, I think you can. I'm trying to get one of the top closers, and I've been pretty successful in doing that. Tout Wars actually waited till round 6 and got Felix Bautista. Actually, there was a couple guys that went ahead of him that I have Bautista ranked ahead of. I don't know if that was because people were concerned with Bautista's, injuries, but he did make his spring debut on Monday or Tuesday and was fine. So maybe he goes back up, but I was considering that I waited and got 2 pitchers in rounds 4 and 5 and then came back with Bautista. I was happy. In my 12-team NFBC Online Championship on Friday, I took Raisel Iglesias round 5. I really like him a lot. So I'm trying to get one of those top closers for sure. And then I'll kind of piece it together, take a chance on someone late, work the waiver wire, because a lot of those mid-tier closers suck or don't have the job. But I do want to try and get one. Yeah, I think we're pitching. You can wait a little bit this year. I think there's some good pitchers in the rounds 4, 5, and 6 that I have confidence in. And there's solid pitchers throughout the draft. So I'm not going to take an extreme approach where I'm going to start with 8 bats. I don't think I'm going to go like that, but I think you could start with 3, 4 bats and then grab some pitching along the way. You also kind of always say you got to read the draft room. Like when I was in Tout, I could see, I'm like, okay, they're pushing pitching down. So I started with 3 bats, and then I said, okay, now I like a couple of the arms here, so I'm going to come back with 2 arms and a closer, and it worked out. So I think it all depends. I like my online championship. I waited till round 4 for my first pitcher, got Iglesias in round 5, and then there was I seen another run of pitching and wanted to grab one of those arms. So yeah, I think you just kind of want to see how the room is playing it. It's always important to know your competition. You're in your home league, you know how it goes. The run on pitching usually, and if it changes, you kind of just read the draft room and draft accordingly.
Yeah, in a 12-teamer that I did last night, again, mid-second round, Corbin Burns, Garrett Cole. I had the second pick overall. Started off with Acuna. Then in the second round, Burns, Cole, and Alcantara all came off the board. I took Lindor, and then it came back around for me for round 3, and I was debating taking Edwin Diaz there. But I didn't. I was like, all right, let me see what happens here as far as the closers go. I'll make sure that I attack in 4 or 5 if I have to. So I grabbed Matt Olson. You know how much I love him. I grabbed him in the 3rd, and then 2 picks later, Edwin Diaz came off, then Verlander, and then it was like late in the draft, McClanahan, Clase, all 6 in a row here. McClanahan, Clase, DeGrom, Strider, Woodruff, Scherzer, and then Mullins. Then it was Nola, and by the time it got to me, Hader was still on the board.
Boy, Nola went that late.
Nola went, 5th pick of round 4.
That is a steal.
In a 12-teamer.
Nola is just so reliable, man. The guy goes out there, makes starts. I know if you look at his numbers, they're kind of erratic from year to year. He had the 4.63 ERA 2 years ago, although a lot of that was kind of some bad luck. But the guy's made at least 32 starts in 4 of the last 5 full seasons, excluding 2020. And doesn't walk guys, strikeouts are solid. You're going to get around 200 innings for him. I just think he's a real reliable pitcher.
Very reliable guy, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. You can build a great staff, around him and use him as your ace. I agree. It got to me at the end of round 4, and Hader was still on the board, so I grabbed him. and then Bieber went. And so then it was my pick again. I was like, do I go for a starting pitcher here? And I'm looking, it's like, Rodon, Manoah, Wheeler, Fried, Cease. Good guys, but guys that, weren't like really crazy. So I was like, ooh, Luis Castillo's likely going to be, he could be available to me for my pick. And wouldn't you know it, he went the pick right before me. But so with round 6 and 7, I started off my starting pitching, Framber Valdez and Zach Gallen, two guys who I like a lot. They're not, they're the number ones on their team, but none of them, you're not going to confuse them with Corbin Burns or Sandy Alcantara. You're not going to confuse them with Justin Verlander. But I felt like it was just a good, solid anchor to have there. So I went Valdez, Gallen, and then like 3 picks later, I ended up with George Kirby. And then 4 picks after Kirby was in the 10th. Then the 14th, I took Charlie Morton, and then came back around in the 15th and took Grayson Rodriguez. So I kind of felt pretty good about the pitching staff for a 12-teamer, also because that there's going to be tons of pitching sitting on the waiver wire.
Yeah, I think there's a multitude of ways to build your pitching in a 12. So I don't think it's absolutely necessary to take guys early. I think you could still get some good arms, as you showed there.
Yes, I agree with that. All right, let's do pitching the way we did outfielders there. Mid round guys who you find yourself kind of targeting on the regular.
Let's see. I would say Nestor Cortez, Alex Cobb. I like a lot. Did last year too, adding another pitch. Let's see. I'm warming up to Chris Sale. Don't have him yet. Charlie Morton, Jeffrey Springs, Joe Ryan, Jordan Montgomery, Drew Rasmussen, Reed Detmers, Pablo Lopez, Brady Singer, Hunter Brown. If the price doesn't get too high, I know he's had a little bit of some control problems in the spring. But
Brady Singer.
Yeah,
ugh, I don't like him.
John Gray, Patrick Sandoval, Trevor Rogers, Jamison Tyone. Yeah, okay. Those are some guys.
Those are some guys. Those are a few of my favorite names there. Let's see. I don't mind I like Nick Lodolo. I love him. I think he's worth looking at. I like Joe Ryan's uptick in velocity. I might give him a look. I do like Pablo Lopez there also for the Twins. I know that there's risk involved as far as the shoulder goes, but I don't hate that. What do you think of Jesus Luzardo this year?
I like him. Not a great team, not a great defense, but definitely has good stuff. And when he's healthy, he's been good.
Yeah. I like Jeffrey Springs. I don't mind Drew Rasmussen. I'm going to take a shot on Patrick Sandoval. I know 2 years ago, everybody was all hyped about him and he didn't deliver. I think a lot of people forget the fact that he's only 26 years old still.
His thing is just improving command. Like, he's got a nasty changeup. His walks have always been a problem for him. He does not give up home runs at all. He allowed 8 home runs last year at 148 2/3 innings. His career home run per 9 is 1.01. It was 0.48 last year. I guess the thing with him is the whip, and because of the walks, because I had him last year in a couple leagues, he had a 1.34 whip. So it's going to take cutting down those walks, because those walks are what keeps that whip at where it is, 9.4% walk rate last year. So that's going to be the key. He's got to improve that to take that step up, because I think a lot of people don't look at whip enough, and that was his problem. So I'd like to see him throw more first pitch strikes. It was only 58% last year. Got to get that higher. But he's got a lot of ability. I guess the other thing is Angels look like they're going with a 6-man rotation again, so that limits to 2 start weeks.
Are they going to do that? Are they going to do the 6-man rotation? You got to figure if they don't have the intent to sign Ohtani, or re-sign Ohtani, then it makes more sense for them to just stick with the 5-man rotation and get as much out of him as you can.
Yeah, you would think that, but I believe they're still going to go with a 6-man.
Oh,
could change.
Angels.
I mean, that could change.
Oh, Angels. Why? I'll take a shot on Sean Manaea late. His ADP is really low. You want to talk about like how the Dodgers fix players? I like how the Giants fix players as well. You know, and Farhan Zaidi, when he brings somebody in, like, you know that the due diligence is done on the player. So I might actually take a look at Sean Manaea because, I mean, obviously I love that ballpark for him. And I mean, it's super spacious. And, you know, even the right-handed bats, it's not an easy home run for them. It really is not in that park. So I'll take a look at Sean Manaea a little bit later on in drafts. Who else? I'm seeing if I can look further down, but no. Ooh, Zach Eflin with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I even liked him with Philly, but going to Tampa should be good for him. Another team that knows what they're doing. I mean, they've turned Rasmussen around.
They certainly have. All right. Starting pitching, closers. I think we've done closers ad nauseum, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, very few at the top, and then you're really gonna have to piece it together and pay attention to depth charts, and you're gonna have to take several shots on setup men or guys that look like they could be the closer. That's what I've been doing. Jimmy Herget took late, Reynaldo Lopez. So take chances with guys like that. Hopefully they get the closer role. If not, cut them and move on.
I can dig that one for sure. As I sit here with all these shares of Jose Leclerc.
Yeah, I got one.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, I think as far as drafting goes, people, listen, at Adam Ronis on Twitter, at RotoBuzz Guy on Twitter, you got questions, you're sitting in your draft room. Fantasy Alarm, we've got on our Discord, if you subscribe to Fantasy Alarm and you're part of our Discord, we've got a fantasy baseball draft room specifically that if you're in there and you're drafting, you got questions, we guarantee you somebody's going to answer it. And answer it in a very, very timely fashion as well. So, if that's worthwhile to you, you might as well just subscribe. Get all the MLB DFS, all the other shit that we throw out there. I mean, there's tons of stuff at Fantasy Alarm that you're not going to want to miss for sure, including all the NBA stuff that we've got. Let's hit a little NBA before we get on out of here. Adam, what are you looking at for this weekend as the NBA season starts to wrap up a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, now it's just a constant daily situation with players being ruled in and ruled out. So we're seeing players rest on back-to-backs. Anthony Davis wants to play, but he said the team doctors and medical staff don't want him to play back-to-back. So, he was in a great bounce-back spot on Wednesday after 2 bad games, and I liked his props. It came through. So, I'm just going to, look for some value spots. Maybe you're going to look at the stars when they're playing in big spots. And then, with Dallas, they've been without Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. So Jaden Hardy and Josh Green are 2 guys to look at for DFS and props because they have to do so much more with those guys out. So, we had a situation with Cleveland. They were without Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen. So you're kind of just looking for spots with teams that are shorthanded. Devin Booker's been crushing it because Kevin Durant's is still out. It's going to miss time. Giannis came back, played back-to-back 2 huge games. I've been saying it for most of the year. I like Milwaukee to come out of the East, and now they have a 3-game lead over Boston. Boston's been struggling lately. Denver's been struggling. So, we're just looking for spots with the stars in a good spot and, some value when players are out that opens up props that could be lower on the board because those players have not had typical numbers. And Mikal Bridges for the Nets, man, this dude is just like, his prop last night was 24.5 points. And once again, he had, I think he had 34. Yeah, he had 34. So since he's averaging 28.1 in March, and we're getting his prop at 24.5, 25.5, I believe they play Sacramento on Thursday. Go keep hammering it, man. I mean, the guy has had his last 7 games, 38, 33, 30, 10. And that's only because they played him in the first quarter and sat him the rest of the game. And the coach, Jock Vaughn, before the game said, yeah, we're probably going to monitor Bridges' minutes tonight. The books had his prop at 24.5. After that quote came out, it went down to 19.5. So that was the telltale sign. And he played 12 minutes the first quarter at 10 points. Then he came back with 34, 25, and 34. So he's averaging 19 shots from the field in the month of March, and that's with that game where he played 1 quarter and had 13. So he has become the main guy for the Nets, and they're going to continue to put his number at 24.5, 25.5. Man, we just got to go over. And same thing for his teammate Spencer Dinwiddie on assist. It was at 8.5 on Tuesday night, and he had double digits his last 3 games, 11, 16, and 11. So, Rockets are a team to look at too for some props. Jabari Smith has been playing phenomenal, rookie who has really come on strong, 3 straight double-doubles. So his points, rebounds, look at, and Kevin Porter as well, just recently came back, rebounds and assists. And then, the usual Joel Embiid keeps crushing. Yeah, so the West is going to be an interesting finish. It's all bunched up. Seeding is going to be crazy. I mean, now all of a sudden Golden State is the 5th seed. They started to play better. They've won 7 of 10. We know Phoenix will be dangerous with Durant. So I thought the West was kind of wide open, but I'm starting to think there's only like 3 teams that could come out of the West now.
Yeah, kind of figured it was going to narrow a little bit at some point or another. All of a sudden, everybody starts realizing that, it just kind of, they could, but not. No, probably not. All right. Well, cool. Adam's article drops on Pickswise.com for some props on Friday. Make sure you take a look at that. Again, everything over at Fantasy Alarm for the draft guide, for the MLB draft guide, that's all free. Just go to fantasyalarm.com. You see the banner right there. It points you in the right direction. If you're interested in doing any mock drafts, I'm running a couple between now and the start of the season. So you can hit me up at howard@fantasyalarm.com or RotoBuzzGuy on Twitter and tell me you want in. Adam, enjoy the Tout Wars broadcast this weekend, man. I hope you have a blast with everybody.
Yeah, hopefully. First time they're doing it live since 2019. Hard to believe.
Really is hard to believe, no doubt. No doubt. Well, that's what happens when you get all those old guys and COVID's going. Yeah, everybody's, nobody wants to take any chances. Or all us over 50s are at risk.
Yeah, not good.
We're all over 50 and we're overweight.